So hello everyone, April the 27th, late in the night here where I'm recording in Alberta in Canada. Today, the whole day, the moon was in Leo, was this first day in Leo. And it came in with a bang as a few hours into that phase, and the moon was at 2 degrees and something. We had that big solar flare, Earth directed, which I spoke this morning. If you haven't seen that yet, that was just a short one, kind of an intro. Anyway, this opened the day, set the tenor for that intensity which we have certainly been feeling all along, everyone, and seems really it's getting every day more clear, more straightened out. Things fall in place around us in a remarkable way, very synchronistic. It really sometimes seems, it is true. We are the creator of our reality, and I'm experiencing it even more so strongly, and it's in a beautiful way. And it happens kind of a natural response from the universe if you are in sync yourself, if you are true and honest and straight and without censoring. Super important these days. This is really where we are going. More and more people are waking up to this power, this dragon energy. And speaking of dragon energy, you see here on the side I have Haumea's discovery chart of December 28, 2004. Yes, that's still to come, that recording on Haumea. Haumea discovered not even 2 days after that huge earthquake catastrophe, actually a bit more than 2 days, but really just in the aftermath of that 250,000 people passing over into another frequency band. So riding on that wave, that dragon energy came into reality, pulled its invisibility cloak off, made itself recognizable, and in that sense, that's always when a new symbol, a new archetype comes into the conscious kind of surfaces out of the oceans, out of the waters. All of a sudden it is here, and it becomes an asset. At best, we can start learning to use it in a very focused way. So we will get to this chart in particular. What stands out is this second degree of Gemini and Sagittarius with Mars here. This is hexagram 34 and hexagram 20 actually here on the Gemini side, hexagram 34 here on the Sag side. And I really want to quickly show you what that means. This is the human design system. Here you have channel 34 and here you have channel 20. It's one of the few oppositions in the zodiac which form a perfect channel, and this is a super powerful one which links the sacral energy from our belly, where we are directly connected with nature, with the manifestation center. So this is charisma. That's what this channel is called. So this dragon energy has this charisma, this, you can't stop it, particularly even more so with Mars, not just the descendant, but Mars in that hexagram 34, power of the great. And then this trine here with the moon. I mean, this is an amazingly powerful chart. We definitely will get into it with the Neptune here at the high point. Definitely a force which works through the oceans, which rises out of the oceans, as I described in my last video. That volcanic energy which over thousands of years has been building up these islands, and then comes the moment when this island comes through the surface is born in that sense. And it is that birthing energy which is a very, very big part of that Haumea force too, giving birth, going through the birth pains, and also then the big gift of the newborn, of something new, something altogether on a different wavelength. That's really what Haumea is promising to bring in. Also, if Uranus so prominently placed, you see in Pisces. Yes, this in itself is a marvel, this chart. So this explains the power of this diagonal here through the zodiac. Now I want to show you a few coincidences here. So let's start here with also Mercury and Venus, this conjunction in the 7th house, which is not just mentally and through our sharp mind, Mercury and Sag, expressing our very clear understanding of reality. In that sense, Sagittarius is a fighter. It is a revolutionary energy guided by Jupiter, by expansion, going ever further deeper into the unknown. That's kind of the Sagittarian quest to go to the end of the world, to the end of the universe. And also Venus here, lots of enthusiasm. So this is that fire, that fiery breath, all that Sag energy here in the 7th house, together with Pluto here, actually already really close to the galactic center and the part of fortune here too. So I have this chart here also in bigger. Let me quickly pull it out here. Here it is. So you can take a proper screenshot if you wish and study it in detail. Anyway, I will get back to that, but just saying, it is that Sagittarian fire which is at the helm of this revolution. And okay, that was not what I wanted to do. It happens sometimes when you talk and act at the same time. Okay, so yes, that was the moon in Leo, entering Leo, activating Leo. Yes, you see that 15th degree of Sag, that Venus and Mercury really activated. Now, a few hours later, actually in early afternoon in Greenwich time, we had that one and only square between Mars and Chiron. Here it is, Mars 1707 Cancer, Chiron 1707 in Aries, that waxing square. Now, this connection of Chiron and Mars is, as any connection of symbols has many levels and layers and expressions, but one of them certainly is using our willpower, our focus, that Martian intention, and it's really the healthy male energy inserted into reality in the service of Chiron, of healing and bringing completion. And naturally the square is always a tense and intense aspect of collision in some way, activation, tickling the energy out, making it real. And again, you see the 1st degree this time of Sag here at the bottom and of Gemini at the top. Again, you see the resonance with that dragon energy chart. And then that's not enough. Just a few hours before I did this recording, the moon was exactly at the square point between, actually it's the midpoint between the solar eclipse of the 19th, 20th we just had and that upcoming lunar eclipse on May 5. So we're really at that midpoint, and again that the square aspect, the sun, the moon 90 degrees ahead. It's the most charged point in the whole cycle. When the moon is 90 degrees ahead, it's climbing up the mountain, very forceful and full of energy, full of expansiveness in Leo. And yes, again, you see it's the same axis, 0 degrees of the two signs, Sagittarius and Gemini. Furthermore, we have here Neptune and Ceres, which are, they won't really get into a conjunction this time. Ceres turned retrograde not too long ago, slightly short, but still this opposition is in play. And this will come up quite a few times over the next few weeks. So there is something in the creation with water. Ceres being the earth goddess, mother of the natural world, guardian of animals and beings in general, also responsible for the nourishment and the lack thereof. Ceres can go through quite some extreme different stages of experience. I mean, one of them is after her daughter Persephone was stolen, abducted by Pluto down into the underworld. She fell in such a crisis that she stopped nourishing, and that's where winter comes in. She draws all her energies back, all into the roots, and brings in that regression into another dimension almost. So Ceres is a complex character. But let's keep going. Just want to really show you that resonance of the dragon energy first and foremost. Okay, then tomorrow, that is just the preamble. The real story tomorrow is this one here. Saturn heliocentrically entering Pisces. Here it is, 000 Pisces, and again this is the heliocentric perspective as seen from Earth. As you probably know, Saturn entered Pisces on March the 7th. For that whole time since, as seen from the Sun, in its underlying energy, Saturn still had that Aquarian frequency. Now, with Saturn moving fully into Pisces, you can expect that it's the effects of that energy, which already are manifesting through Pisces on the earthen plane, will multiply and become really intense and strong. And Neptune and then Saturn being a Neptune sign is about dissolution, dissolving of structures of all kinds of things which have done their job, being outdated. So you can add to your own math here. This is where we're going. Also, at the same time, it is capturing Neptune, which comes more and more in focus, what I described in several of my recordings a few months back. And they are still very relevant. I mean, these are stories which unfold over many, many years. This is a process, as so many things in astrology. So Saturn entering Neptune's sign, actually then eventually catching up to Neptune, that will be in the second degree of Aries in the year 2026. So there's still ways to go here, but as Saturn is closing in on Neptune, this will more and more take the invisibility cloak of that Neptunian energy, which is so good in hiding and deceiving and making itself appear different than what it really is. Saturn is closing in and literally arresting this energy, tying it down, nailing it down, and bringing that long-awaited clarity, what is really going on all the different levels. But this is just a starting point. The ingress chart, kind of the birth moment of that process into the year 2025, 26 around. What stands out is that beautiful trine to Mercury and the opposition to Venus most of all. Venus just coming out of a conjunction with Mars here, a reboot, a restart on the 22nd, that was on Earth Day, starting a whole new creation cycle. And Venus here just a little bit before Saturn enters Pisces, a little bit ahead of that she enters Virgo. So this in itself is kind of a sobering frequency. Yes, we have to deal with all kinds of difficult emotions, I would call it. Something heavy, something which is mourning and grief come in. But let's roll back a little bit, because there's something else going on here. So just hours prior to Saturn entering Pisces in the heliocentric perspective, as seen from Earth, Saturn has its perfect opposition to AW197. Now this is a very special little body, about 800 kilometers in diameter. And let's just jump directly to it. Was discovered in 2002, is a classical non-resonant trans-Neptunian object from the Kuiper belt, also known as Kubevano, because the designation QB1 was the first discovered object in that range of distance from the Sun. Approximately 700 kilometers in diameter, so it's quite massive, and it is the largest one which has not been named yet so far. Let me see where they say that, because this is really interesting. Okay, where did I see that? Yes, here it says it actually in the introduction. As the largest unnamed object in the solar system. It's been discovered more than 20 years ago and still has not been given a name. So this is in line with astrologers found that it has to do with stealth and hiding and working from the behind. Saturn teaming up with this body is super interesting, right at the doorstep of getting into that full Pisces energy. AW97 is about stealth, about art of war, and the 36 stratagems, which is a Chinese essay which illustrates a series of stratagems used in politics, war, as well in civil interaction, how to absorb an inimical energy and turn it around into your favor, work with it. It's kind of a boomerang effect. Also, you could think of Aikido, where the art is to receive the momentum from the attack and very intelligently redirect it to make it work in your favor. That's kind of the energy. It was interesting already in let me scroll down this so here you can read it if you hold the screen still for a moment if you wish. This is one of the best essays I found on AW197. So in combination with the Saturnian energy, Saturn is giving authority. Saturn is giving structure and reality and empowering. Always when Saturn and Jupiter are involved with a planet, it is an empowerment of sort. As these are the two main players on the social stage of interaction. Jupiter and Saturn, the two big heavyweights. So anyway, when this aspect is exact tomorrow, the moon here is right at the center stage, and I mentioned this 19th degree of Leo just in the recording before. It is where Zenith will be in the 19th degree of Leo when Jupiter is here and Haumea will have their exact opposition. Jupiter is still at 25. That will be on May the 14th. So it's kind of, this energy links in with this same direction. As you know, meanwhile, that's how astrology works. It's these different structural pieces work together, come into an alignment and work together as a whole, as a real structure over time. The part of fortune here with Hygeia stands out in Aquarius, and yes, this is the degree of the Venus-Mars conjunction heliocentrically, as you see here. I guess I have it somewhere, it's coming. Well, let's go step by step. So then, yes, that's then the heliocentric opposition of Venus and Saturn, just short before Saturn is entering Pisces. You see at 29:59, that's where they meet. So this 29:59 is a super powerful degree. Naturally, it is the final conclusion of going through the experience of all the 30 degrees. So it's a very accumulated and a peak experience of Aquarius frequency together with Venus in Leo, which is that deep passion. I guess that's what really this late Leo energy is. It's a fire from within, and it is a guiding light too, because it is through this passion, this Leo passion, this heart energy, which we are fueled, and Venus and Mars are our main contributors in this, in terms of resources, natural resources. These are the neighboring planets. They stand for the basic feminine, the basic masculine principle. And it is when these two principles interact and meet, a new life is born. So this is really deep, and these are personal planets too. So this just at the forefront of the Saturn initiation into Pisces, and you see this is exact 8:00 Greenwich time, and then at 11:44 p.m. That is something like 20 hours later or something like that. Yes, Saturn is entering Pisces for good. Again, the Sagittarian rising, this time in the last degree here, in a sextile aspect to Saturn, kind of in between Haumea here. You see Haumea at 001. Haumea entered heliocentric Scorpio on the 17th of April, just 10 days ago. And just think back, get a bit of a perspective. I mean, if you have at all have a memory of what happened the last 10 days, so many things happen all the time, but the energy has been changing quite drastically. Then we had that the eclipse, and we had the G4 geomagnetic storm. These were just kind of the outstanding celestial events, but the energy definitely has become way more intense. Interesting also that kind of relay Haumea experienced in terms of geocentric and heliocentric positioning, as since November the 13th of last year, Haumea was already in Scorpio, expressing through Scorpio, as seen from Earth, manifesting through this energy. However, on the background, in the solar perspective, the pure energetic signature was still Libra. And then on the 17th, as I say, Haumea shifted forward in heliocentric, into Scorpio the first time, and will be in here for the next, 30 years or so. Haumea takes about 308 years, if I'm correct, once around the zodiac. So it's a 25-year, definitely plus phase we have just entered here energetically, how this dragon energy expresses itself through this scorpionic intensity, which totally resonates with the image of volcanic from deep under the ocean, rising up and connected to that hellfire, almost you could say, that fire, deep fire from within, and spitting fire and things like that. That's all very much in that same realm. Haumea has been returning into Libra as seen from Earth, as you can see here in this geocentric perspective of that same moment when heliocentric Saturn enters Pisces. Haumea actually tomorrow, already 10 minutes into Libra, kind of backwards, in the degree where the eclipse happened. 2952, I guess, was the exact degree of the eclipse here in late Aries on the 19th, 20th, with the Earth naturally being in this position in exact alignment with Haumea at the time. So Haumea was perfectly within the eclipse axis, as I emphasized. So Haumea is super important these days, together with Pluto. It is both these, you see, which have been featured in that eclipse energy. So anyway, the long story short, Haumea is now again expressing through Libra energy once more, which had since pretty much 1992 for 30 years, just in the last 8 months or so. It was already advanced into Scorpio through from Earth's perspective. So anyway, in the energetic structure, being in the scorpionic phase, going back into Libra, is kind of almost appears that this scorpionic force is now applied in a much more delicate way, but still deeply in a deeply influential way. So it's coming more in a disguise, but still extremely powerful, as Libra is a cardinal sign. So it is, that's what has happened in general. In Libra, Haumea has been building that base, that inner readiness to go deeper into shifting things from within. Before in Libra, it's more like on the surface, kind of, or very diplomatic. In Scorpio, it definitely gets in then. So that's kind of where we're going, and generally interesting. The 5th degree of Scorpio and Taurus here, where the nodal axis is again emphasized. The moon in the 20th degree of Leo. How can you make that one up? Pretty exactly where the Venus-Mars conjunction was, yes, which I brought back actually here to show you. That's, and you see I'm jumping back forward and from into geocentric and heliocentric, because they are always working together as a team. It's like the left and the right leg, you could say, almost. And again, this was Earth Day. This was kind of the conclusion out of the eclipse phase, the final dot on the I. So let's look a little bit ahead of time. What's coming next? On May 4, we have the heliocentric Haumea Pluto conjunction. That will be here. That is an important one. Pluto still in Capricorn energy till next January. Haumea, health, well-being, here in the last degree of Capricorn. Now let's get down to business and unravel everything, show how these different levels of influence were corroborating with what happened. So it is kind of the indication that something will be healed in the bigger picture, with Chiron at the 7th house cusp. Exposed naturally first, and then healed. Jupiter, Aries, yes, I talked about that before. That's empowering of disclosure. And then on the 4th of May as well, Aspolus has its 5th and final conjunction with the galactic center at, not conjunction, it is wrong actually here, sorry, it should say opposition here, 2710, which I have been long looking at and being excited about. You can go back to that recording. May will be tremendous. It sure is, having that feeling with the moon in perfect T-square here, with this powerful opposition. Pallas, another of these asteroids which is totally in for truth and justice. The moon conjunct Haumea. This is a powerful chart. Well, let's just wrap it up. I have just a couple more. Yes, this is the geocentric version of what we looked at before, of this one here. Pluto and Hygeia. And look at that. I mean, it's uncanny. Mars exactly in midheaven. Yes, the real fight is just really starting. So there will be a huge breakthrough. It's obvious it has to come before Jupiter enters Taurus. This is that final phase of really firing up the cavalry and breaking the front lines, going into that mode of conquering the dark forces, pushing them into a corner. Yes, they won't be fully done, but it will be a substantial move. I compared it to a friend today, being asked, it's maybe similar or even much more than what we experienced with the trucker convoy in February 2022, which was a worldwide enthusiasm which came up. It was a huge breakthrough, which, even though it was pushed down, squashed out, not really. It went just into the underground. It kept growing and growing. Yeah, I really should share this once more too. See, it's so hard to gauge where we are at in a collective picture, as nobody really talks to each other anymore about these things. Everybody is afraid to touch on certain subjects. However, I mean, everyone has friends, family, colleagues, co-workers who have experienced something or other. It's becoming more and more clear that something is just fishy, something is not quite right. Many people are half awake, many people are sitting on the fence, still with their jaws dropped open and not able to respond. They are still baffled and, as I say, in disbelief of what they're seeing. So it is a coming to terms, and this has been accelerating, and it gets to a critical phase where all of a sudden you throw in a match and the whole thing goes off. You could think of a pool of water, molecules, millions and millions of them. Now each of the molecules representing one human being, when waking up, turning into a gasoline molecule. You can't see this by bare eye, you can't recognize that, but if millions and millions of little molecules shift their structure from a really innocent water and atom into a highly potent kerosene atom, if you want, molecule, then you throw a match in and you know what happens. And that's kind of where we're approaching that spot, in my opinion, with Mars up high. Yes, it's in the name of health and well-being, and naturally the 7 and many more generations to come, which we have to defend, and we are backed by nature. We are nature. We are the extension of solar energies, the incarnation, the manifestation of solar energies on this planet. We are the spokespersons for that celestial energy. For that we are fueled, we are supported, and finally the breakthrough will happen. Nature will win. That is 100% clear. I mean, you can have the highest level of artificial intelligence. If you pull the plug, it's dead. As simple as that. Sure, you have to pull the plug before they get to defend their own power supply, which, I mean, think of HAL in Kubrick's movie Odyssey 2001, I guess it was called. I mean, that gave me shivers the first time I saw that movie many years ago. This is where we're going, and we're there already. I mean, anyway, all of that is in the array of potential futures and developments. It's multi-layered, so many things are going on. So this Mars up here is promising, because Mars at the 10th house cusp, that is taking action, pulling the sword out of the stone and standing there for freedom to defend what our birthright is, to be on this planet free and sovereign beings. With Pallas in the first degree of Leo, yes, this is that warrior spirit dead on. And then I mentioned this morning quickly, then the black moon entering hexagram 7, this will be really the hot phase, which I guess is May the 6th starting, for then several weeks into early July. This is the comet's discovery chart. I just thought this was interesting, as the comet still is the one which inserted all these secret codes, how to unlock the whatever is needs that final little insertion of a code to get activated. That happened with that comet's energy, most certainly, and that was the activation of Mars, as I showed you in many of my videos. Interesting, yes, that we have that 16th degree here, you see Aries and Libra, and again Chiron here at the 7th house cusp, yes. Okay, last but not least, well, I could go on here forever. I'll leave it at this for now. Maybe just quickly, the AW 197 discovery is what I talked before about, that stealth power of a ability to absorb a negative energy and turn it into your favor. With Jupiter here at the midheaven, I guess it's pretty clear this is a very royal way of dealing with life, and Varuna, the gold star of integrity and sincerity, here there too. So there's a really high ethical approach. Moon in Sag approaching Pluto, yes, there is some power under this in this car, in this engine. The engine is powerful. I guess you get what I mean. I'm getting tired. I guess I should stop. I'm losing it here a little bit. I think that's it for today. Thank you for listening and listening to my babbling here. I know sometimes it's a little bit all over the place. I hope you're enjoying it, and keep the good spirits up. We're getting into deeper waters, and I guess we can feel it. It's pretty obvious. Love you all. Bye bye.